Hello, everyone, and welcome to the special discussion about artificial intelligence, innovation, and transfer pricing and tax. I'm Boris Ulanenko, your host for today. As an independent advisor to Aibidia and founder of Arm's Length AI, I'm particularly excited to moderate this conversation about the intersection of artificial intelligence and tax expertise. Today, we're going behind the scenes of a fascinating collaboration between Aibidia and IBFD, exploring how their recent AI hackathon is helping shape the future of transfer pricing solutions. We have an outstanding panel joining us today who are directly involved in this initiative. I'm delighted to welcome Matthias Grabeles, Chief Product Officer at Aibidia, Thierry de Grief, Director of Tax and Data at IBFD, and Anushka Becker, Manager of Transfer Pricing and Specialist Knowledge Groups at IBFD too. Let's start by getting to know our speakers a bit better. Could each of you please tell us about your role and what drives your passion in this space? And perhaps we can start with Anushka.
Yeah, I'm Anushka Becker. I'm the Deputy Director of the Knowledge Center at IBFD and also Manager of the VAT and Transfer Pricing and Specialist Knowledge Group. I lead a team that is focused on developing products, data sets, and all sorts of solutions, courses online and also face-to-face for different audiences. And the core expertise of the team is in transfer pricing, tax risk management, and tax accounting. My passion is actually to demystify, say, complex issues and provide both multinationals and individuals with impactful tools. My passion and the core of my role is really leading innovation, fostering learning, and also make sure that multinationals and individuals excel and develop themselves and professionally grow.
Great. Thank you very much, Anushka. Great to have you today. Thierry, maybe you?
Hello, everybody. My name is Thierry de Grief. Many people call me TJ, however, because I've got a very Dutch name. It's hard to pronounce, so that's a fun fact. I serve as a Director of Data and Technology within the International Bureau of Fiscal Documentation, short IBFD, and I'm also a member of the Executive Boards. I'm trained as a computer scientist, but at some point in my career I did a PhD, and that focused very much on AI and the collaboration with humans itself. So naturally, I've got a strong passion to make sure emerging technologies or advanced technologies are come to the goods for end users, and that drives me professionally. In a private life, I'd like to go on kite surfing or in the mountains a lot. So that's a little bit about me.
Great. Thank you very much. If you'll be in Poland at some point, we have great mountains. Matthias, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm Matthias Grabeles, the Chief Product Officer at Aibidia, where we are providing an end-to-end platform design specifically for global profit allocation. I'm having a background in financial accounting, and I led the development of the biggest ERP finance solutions in the world in the past. What was always very important for me was pushing the domain-driven innovation for the end user's benefit, and it's very important that you always bring that knowledge about what you want to solve as a challenge with the technology together, and this is why this partnership that we're talking about today is so exciting for me. And I'm a hiker too, so I have Polish ancestors, so I would love to come to your place and hike with TJ together with you.
That's great. Thank you, Matthias. So let's start with the discussion about what led up to this initiative and this collaboration. And perhaps we can just have some idea of industry trends which led to this discussion we're having today. Maybe, Anushka, you can lay out for us what are those trends and how they impacted this discussion.
Sure, Boris. There was a couple of trends, and I will deal with some of them because we don't have too much time. But one of them is really demand for transparency. So there is the demand from transparency from many stakeholders, such as shareholders, investors, tax authorities, consumers, suppliers, NGOs, and media, just to name a few. And tax authorities and also international organizations, they are increasing their compliance requirements. Examples are the OECD BEPS project, e-invoicing, CBAM, and public CBC reporting. And in order to keep up with all those, compliance requirements, the use of technology is needed. Another trend is, in order to be accurate. So if you need to keep up with all these developments, and you have like all sorts of processes that you need to also make sure that they are run efficiently. You have all these data that need to be gathered in different ways. So the amount of data that actually need to be prepared and need to be processed by different departments is enormous, has grown exponentially. On top of that, you have the amount of data that has grown that needs to be produced by multinationals and tax administrations. But at the same time, there's always the cost pressure and, the efficiency pressure. So multinationals and tax administrations, they actually need to do more with, the same budget or maybe even less budget. So the pressure for making those improvements operational and create operational efficiencies is huge. And then there is the other another interesting aspect is, technology in itself. The advancements of technology are going in such a rapid pace that even is also an accelerator, a driver for, the use of tax technology. So people are interested, and tax administrations, multinationals are interested in the developments of AI, machine learning, cloud computing, and how that can actually be used in their tax functions or in their daily operations within the tax administrations. Another interesting, and that's really an interesting aspect, is, the demand of the tax function has changed. And the tax function is also, and is required to actually provide more input with respect to strategic decision making. And that is also, where tax technology can be used in order, for example, by, running forecasts of, business scenarios, and they can actually provide input. The tax function can provide input with respect to strategic decision making. So these are a couple of the tax trends that are, I think, interesting for both multinationals and tax administrations.
For sure. Thank you very much, Anushka. As someone who spent a few years in-house dealing with transfer pricing and tax, I'm pretty sure that most of transfer pricing and tax professionals are looking with a high degree of hope towards technology to help them, because every year the compliance requirements and generally data requirements are growing, and perhaps technology is something that could help with the limited headcounts that we all have. Then maybe Matthias, if you could tell us a little bit more about what initially sparked the idea of a partnership between IBFD and Aibidia, and what makes you feel that this collaboration can bring some value or help with the trends that we are observing.
Yeah, I can only echo what Anushka and you, Boris, said. We are at a lot of events and we are listening to our clients that have received proven software from us for the last years. And they are very open to us, like what they want to have next. And we are hearing that they are working a lot with IBFD. We are hearing that they want to have the best data available when it comes to knowledge. And we know that they want to have this combined with the data that they have in their systems. And this is where, when we had these meetings at events where we worked together already in the past on several other topics, where we came up with that idea, what if we bring together the knowledge that we have on technology and the best-in-class data that is available? And that eventually led to the very clear and easy decision, let's meet and have something, and we will talk about it, that we can do together in that space, because our client bases that are very similar in many cases are really looking forward for these technologies that can help them on all the trends that Anushka just mentioned. It's so much work that they have to do. They need technology to cope with that.
Sure. Thanks, Matthias. And TJ, maybe from your side, what were the elements that made you excited about this collaboration, or what made you feel that this collaboration makes sense?
Just echo a little bit also what Matthias already alluded to, because I'm in full agreement here, because it's about joining forces. We want to take the best of both worlds, combining a data-driven approach. Anushka already alluded to this, that we need to, that data becomes more essential for strategic decision making. And Aibidia has a very nice platform and an ecosystem around that data-driven approach. But if we combine it with knowledge that is prevalent within our IBFD, and we combine the best of the technology people we have, this can be really powerful for the end user, because technology is everywhere, but the value is not. And I truly believe if we combine it, it becomes really powerful for end users in transfer pricing. Therefore, we are joining forces, and IBFD is renowned for its global tax expertise for publication, but also we do training, we collect data, and we deliver those data to people. So combining it in this partnership is powerful. And for me, when we there's another angle to this partnership. It's the way how we collaborate. So when we started to have our first discussion together, how we want to do it, there was immediately a sense of trust, and we all agreed we needed to be completely transparent in whatever we wanted to do. So no hidden talk. So in that sense, this was really also from a collaborative point of view, and a view that we believed in it, and we wanted to be open and make this a success. So I hope that gives a little bit more insights, Boris, to your question.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, DJ. Yeah, what's particularly interesting to me is how you've described this partnership forming organically through industry events and shared observations, also working with the same group of people, with the same customers or community. That's very important and very helpful. I guess there is a lot of synergy that can form. And now you've taken it to the next level with a formal agreement for this partnership, which is also a big milestone, I think. Now, what really caught my attention was your choice to kick off this formal partnership with a hackathon, which is pretty innovative approach in the tax space. I haven't heard much of hackathons happening in tax technology. What made you feel a hackathon would be the most effective way to start bringing your partnership to life? Could you walk us through a little bit on how you planned it? Maybe Matthias, as a host of, I guess, that hackathon, maybe you can tell us a little bit more.
Yes, maybe first of all, let's explain what a hackathon is, because maybe people believe there were only people in black hoodies coding all the time, which was part of it a bit, but mainly it's really coming together as a group of people that have a specific topic that they want to solve. And they come together for 1 or 2 days and really have that limited time frame where they then need to really work on a prototype and develop something together as a team, and then showcase at the end of that hackathon what they have accomplished. And we did that in Helsinki in our office with the partnership coming together in person with all these people for the first time. And that was a very interesting experience, having these people in a room, having the excitement, wanting to solve and solve a topic on using AI for transfer pricing and tax purposes. And to just give you that understanding, what we had, so the defined goal was really how AI and tech can work for its users in the transfer pricing space, where we're using the best data on knowledge with the technology on data endpoints coming from our Aibidia platform. That was the main goal that we had. And we had people from different backgrounds there, like tax experts, software engineers, data scientists, designers, product managers. We all came together to work on that heavily, like in groups, coming together and really have that rapid execution done together to deliver a prototype. And then at the end, we presented in which direction we want to go. And from there, we had the next steps, how we work together over the course of the couple of weeks and months after that, to really make sure that we come out with a product at some point in time that we want to showcase to the outside world as soon as possible. And we're very excited for what we are doing together, coming from that hackathon event initial.
If I may add to that, indeed, it is an excellent way to get together with focus in an agreed time span. So you have the time pressure cooker, and you have the different expertise together. But there's another thing that's important that Matthias a little bit touched upon, but it's also the team building aspect. You really want to get to know the other people, because if you see each other and you go through a formal agreement and you say, hey, let's partner together, sometimes it's really good to know what the other person's, how they operate, who they are, what drives them, what that keeps them, makes them happy. So also getting together in that goal that Matthias just described, that was something we agreed to beforehand, but then, and organizing the days as we were organizing the days, but also really spending some time together, getting to learn each other, have some fun together, have jokes about the hoodies or the black collars, etc. That's also an essential part of this partnership and the collaboration in general, because we're in different organizations and in different countries. So that's an important aspect as well, that we really understand each other and trust each other to move forward. And we all share that we really want to get an end user value across, right? It's not just a partnership for the sake of partnership, but really getting that value to the end user in that hackathon, to learn quickly what's working and to learn what's not so optimal.
Great. I'm pretty sure that, Aibidia had a lot of hoodies laying around in the office, because that's what Aibidia is famous for, bringing this a little bit of startup flavor to and velocity, perhaps also to the development. Maybe TJ, can you walk us a little bit through those 2 days that the hackathon took, and how did you structure it? How did you organize it? I think there is a lot of interesting insights there too.
Absolutely. I'm more than happy to do that, Boris. As Matthias already said, there was preparation needed. You just don't get together and do a hackathon without a clear goal or some sort of an agreement in structure. So there is always homework that you needed to do. But once then you get together, you organize a hackathon typically by a start of the day where you say, these are the goals that we want to accomplish today. And at the end of the day, you want to make sure, did we meet and did we agree? Did we actually do what we were hoping to do? And can we actually show some progress? So at the end of the day, you always recap and see what you have been doing during that day, and then make the preparations for the next day. As Matthias said, we had 2 days where we did the hackathon. What typically happens after the start of the day, there would be different parallel working streams. We had the technology people, of course, working on the beautiful code and making sure the content is combined with some data points, and there is something that could be demonstrated. At the same time, we had the subject matter experts or the content experts sitting together to talk about what is the relevant content, but also to talk about how can we validate that we're providing the right answers, because that's the value we want to do, what's needed there, and how can we structure that approach. And we also had the different streams where we talk about, hey, how we're going to market this feature in the Aibidia platform. I want to make sure it's well represented within the community. What is a good pricing strategy? So we also had different discussions there, and that all tied nicely together. And the good thing about being in one location, if you have a question, you can quickly pop into a room and ask a particular question, or there's several touch points during the day planned anyhow. So that's roughly the structure. The start of the day where you say, this is the goal of today. At the end of the day, you get together and you have more or less a number of parallel teams working on something with various touch points on that part.
And I think, TJ, from what you have mentioned, and what I find especially interesting is this collaboration between content experts or subject matter experts, tax and transfer pricing professionals, with technology folks. And I know that it's not the easiest collaboration to tackle overall, because we know that on the market, or generally in our profession and industry, we have a lot of great tax and transfer pricing professionals. And we also know that, well, the tax sector is developing very rapidly. And then I think the value comes from combining two. Maybe you can share with us a couple of observations or even life hacks on like how to make this collaboration work, how to connect those two groups of people together.
Absolutely. I think this is an excellent point, which will apply to any type of AI you're gonna if that's something is pursuing that, because it's combining the value of the subject matter expert with the technology. It's a combination. I think an essential aspect of having the different groups understand each other is understanding each other. But you start with the bigger goal. Why are we doing it, and what do we expect from the technology team? What do we expect from the content experts? And so setting those expectations and making sure there is a culture where people ask something if they don't understand it, or they ask if they need something. That's key. One example: any AI engineer will say, "I need data. I need to have." So I can see how well the system is performing. And this is where the content experts come in, because they are able to provide you with examples that give you a benchmark how well it's working. But you need to make sure that those answers are, those questions are raised. I think that's one important aspect, making sure everybody feels comfortable to ask any questions, which might be obvious for content experts or might be obvious for a technology person, but for the other side it's not. So I think that is something you need to do. And also I think Matthias made a statement throughout the hackathon. It's our job as product managers or leaders to be in the background to making sure we facilitate those processes. The moment we get things that falling off the table, that we always follow that idea, the goal we agree to during the hackathon, but also beyond that hackathon. So I think that is another a second important aspect, that you need to make sure getting together, but also there is some sort of leadership present that is silent when they need to be silent, but capable to ask the right questions to challenge the teams a little bit.
Maybe one thing to add to this, because maybe for us it's more clear than to the audience. AI is not the technology itself. It's really the combination of technology with knowledge. Without that, AI will never make a good outcome. You always need to bring the best technology with the best knowledge together. And only then AI really makes sense to support the end users in what they want to achieve with it. If you don't have one of these two things together, it will not work. And that's very important to understand.
For sure. And maybe I'll use this opportunity and ask Anushka, as a subject matter expert, about the data angle of it, because we were talking about data, AI, and how it is could be helpful for tax and transfer pricing professionals. But what is this data that we are talking about? Like, what is a combination of different data that brings value in this collaboration?
Well, there's a lot of data and information within multinationals. Think only of, say, all the data and the information that is included in the various ERP systems and the amount of ERP systems used in multinationals. So how to, you need to gather, you need to sanitize that data. So that's an enormous amount of work. And then there's a challenge of, say, tax compliance and TP compliance is very legal entity driven. So it's a legal entity dimension. But if we actually look at local financial statutory accounts or say management reporting, or then you will actually, they don't have like a legal entity dimension. So if you look at local statutory financials, they have not like information such as business units or product portfolio or sales channels, what is actually required for TP purposes. There is another angle with respect to, or a challenge with respect to transfer pricing data is, well, many jurisdictions actually, they follow the OECD guidelines, but there are some local exceptions. So you will just look at the transfer pricing documentation. Some countries have like exceptions or deviate from, say, the OECD local file template. And you need to keep up with that. And you need to have like technology for that. And if you want to include all those changes or requirements into your systems, you can also use technology. And then if we talk about, say, now I'm actually addressing the OECD local file, but you would have the same with very current public CBC reporting, where countries are deviating from the EU directive. And the requirements, they actually are also deviating amongst countries. So what type of financial statements you can use or not use is deviating amongst countries. So that's some of the challenges that multinationals are facing with respect to data, tax data, and TP data for that matter.
For sure, yes, and like as someone who is sitting in Poland and helping multinationals with Polish transfer pricing requirements, I totally get this complicated landscape of different data and different requirements around the world. And I'm pretty sure that in a hackathon that you also had to take this into consideration while developing this early prototype. And maybe we can now move a little bit about talking about emerging trends in the tax technology space that I think Hackathon nicely fits in. And earlier, Anushka, you outlined some of the trends that shape the tax and transfer pricing landscape. And during the Hackathon, you had a chance to deeply explore those challenges and think about how technology could potentially solve that, and technology that you were working on together. Could you walk us through the key issues that emerged in that discussion and that work, and how you see them impacting tax professionals in their daily work?
Sure, Boris. Say technology, we addressed the challenges earlier in this webinar, and well, technology is actually to help. So, and there is a shift. I would expect a shift in focus, and if say organizations, multinationals, and tax administrations alike, using their technology and to their advantage. So if you actually use technology for all sorts of like activities, such as data entries, reconciliation, producing all sorts of like generate reports. Those are routine functions, routine activities. And you can actually really have like technology helping you with that, and then say free up time from the tax professionals. And those tax professionals, they can actually use their time for other activities that are far more value adding and maybe say strategic level. So that's I would expect if by using technology, you would have like a shift in focus of the activities of tax professionals.
Sure, I also feel myself that AI is really helping with, and general technology is very helpful in automating or helping with the routine tasks in our profession, like drafting some texts, reports, analyzing some context, which can be too long to read in a short time, especially the new OECD papers, for example. If you are very much in detail and need to know all the nuances of particular new paper, for example, reading it yourself in full is a better choice. But sometimes, especially many of us who are facing a lot of new developments in the legislation and regulations, we don't often have time to do that. And then I think that AI is especially helpful in those use cases with long context windows, large language models. You're just feeding in the particular paper, and then you can get some answers from there. But of course, the question of accuracy of that and certainty about the answers is still a little bit open. And I believe that by putting subject matter experts next to technology people is something that ensures that the output of those technologies is to the level that would be sufficient for everyday operations. And maybe, TJ, if you can tell us a little bit from a technology perspective, how do you see AI specifically addressing those automation areas or pain points that we have discussed?
Yes, I will do that, Boris. I'll do my best, at least. One thing I want to add to the previous discussion, you also want to make sure that the AI is helping you to do a better job. You can design for that. What Anushka said, and what you also said, Boris, from your day-to-day practice, it's helping you to make a summary out of the many documents you get to see, is this a document I need to read or not? And you mentioned accuracy is a thing. So you can design also in the way how you interact with the system, that it's actually helping you to do a better job, not replacing you. I think that is an important aspect to add to that earlier discussion. To your question about the value in light of the trends, one of the things, more information is coming in. So having a better view on the different data that you get in from both ERP system, but also from the public domain, combining that into a view, helping you to figure out, am I compliant, or is there a weak spot in being compliant? I think that's going to help tremendously in that area, because otherwise you all need to get it together, either in your head, or you have it scribbled on papers or in Excel files that might be locally, or the best case are emailed around. So having a coherent view is going to be helpful. And you see that not only for transfer pricing, but you can have the same argument for something like contract management. If I have got 250 contracts, it means they need to be renewed at some point, and being aware when they are renewed, when I need to cancel them so many months in advance is different per contract. So in that area, helping you to be aware on the status of what you need to do is going to be helpful. What's also important is what was said before by Matthias strongly. It's not the technology itself, it's the combination of technology with the input from the subject matter experts, or in the hackathon, we call them content experts or the content specialists. That's going to be a driving factor anyhow. So it's not just you can leverage any of these beautiful large language models immediately. making sure when you apply them at scale that there is a procedure in place that is fitting the journey that is applicable, the professional journey. That is another thing, and that's where the content experts come in greatly, I would say.
Yes, and I also feel that it's quite interesting that with the new large language models and new models being released all the time. I think yesterday we've got, or a couple of days ago, we've got release of a new O1 GPT model, which is now the most powerful model. What I do every time I see the new technology, the new model being released, I go there and ask standard tax and transfer pricing questions. So I have a set of my questions, and then I ask them every new model the same questions. And then answers are getting better, but sometimes there's still, the accuracy is actually lower than I would hope that to trust it 100%. And I think that only by having structured and organized data like IBFD has, you may increase the reliability and predictability of those technologies, which I think is the main value driver probably, or one of the main value drivers that organizations like IBFD can bring to the table. Maybe Anushka, one more, a little bit on tangent.
Sorry, Boris, can I add to that? So sorry, sure. But that's a very interesting point. In this partnership, when we focus on it, we want to make sure that we leverage the power of these large language models around a corpus and data itself in a secure way. I think that's the one driver, because then you are able to provide the best answers. But secondly, we also follow a structured approach when it comes to the validation aspect. So anytime you refer to a new model, but anytime we, for example, would even make a new release, or we make some other improvements, we want to, in a structured approach, see what the impact of that approach is. Because not always you need to have the most relevant model for the purpose you have at hand. Sometimes a less complex model is actually performing better, but you can only validate that by following a structured approach. And of course, you want to improve that structured approach as you move further, as you're going to ask more complicated questions. But that's a second ingredient in the partnership, that structured validation. And I think that is important for our audience to understand.
For sure, I agree on that. And at Arm's Length AI, where I'm a founder, we are tackling the benchmarking studies, which is pretty niche area, but there we're using large language models pretty extensively, and we stopped upgrading to the latest models quite a while ago, just because the previous models are already serve the task, and then you don't really need always the best-in-class model for the task that you have in place. But also what I see with the complex projects like the one that you're tackling, you have different type of tasks, and then for some tasks you might apply more complicated model, and for the others you might have easier ways, and even RAG or even simpler search algorithms can sometimes help a lot in that space.
Maybe I can. What was very clearly seen in this partnership is the high quality standard of IBFD. That was something that struck us a lot, where we were always pushing for the highest quality in the outcomes. And that's the main thing of that partnership that I just wanted to highlight, as how much the quality is in focus of IBFD. That really makes this big issue, this big difference in how we work together, and how much better this product will be than everything else I have seen in the market.
Sure. And Anushka, maybe a question to you, because I think when I first started using intelligence products, when I just started my tax and transfer pricing career, it was a little bit overwhelming, because you have this very complicated set of regulations and papers available to you, which is, you have many years of data of court cases, of regulations, and how they all tie together. And especially as a young tax professional, it can be a little bit overwhelming. And it feels to me that technology that we're discussing here can democratize that a little bit and help tax professionals get right answers faster than before, probably, or at least guide you to the right areas to look into. What's your experience with that? Like, do you see this angle also unlocking here?
Yeah, I can surely see that. Say there's many developments. It's very difficult to keep up with all those developments. So technology can actually help you with keeping up with those developments, making sure that as an organization, but also as an individual, if you're like working and have like a specific question with respect to a certain paragraph in the OECD guidelines or in any other local guidance of any country, whether it's being applied, whether there's specific guidance on intergroup financing transactions. Well, we all know that those are really on, say, the target list of many tax authorities. Then if you are dealing with, say, that documentation, you really want to make sure that you are compliant in that field, and you don't actually get like any unexpected questions, say, from the tax authority. So you really want to be prepared, and that's where technology will help you. Technology will give you a faster answer than when you actually need to manually shift to all the information that is available, and then you can also be better prepared.
Great. Yeah, that's a very exciting future that I'm sure everyone looking forward to. Maybe Matthias, you can build on that, and could you share a little bit of your vision on how those AI solutions will actually work in practice? What might we expect as end users in our day-to-day work?
Thank you. I think it's important to understand that AI will not just completely crush everything and it will change everything immediately. It will slowly come into your processes and help you on these aspects. What Anushka mentioned, and that's also our view at Aibidia, there is a lot of data that is required for the whole process of transfer pricing, starting from the strategic setup of your TP policies, implementing these TP policies into your ERP systems, controlling that everything works as expecting during a year, and then reporting on that at the end of the year as your TP compliance documentation. And then at some point in time, 5-6 years later, you get the audit request, and you need to work with the data that you have in that year when you filed. So all of this data comes from somewhere, and this is where Aibidia has the connections to the ERP systems, to the financial consolidation systems, where usually that data got created. And we understand these data points in our platform via our Aibidia taxonomy. So in a language that is understandable by transfer pricing experts. This transfer pricing experts language's taxonomy on a technical perspective can be seen as something called an ontology, which is again a basis for every LLM, every AI that people are using nowadays, where you have the understanding of the data points in use with the AI models that then understand the data points and can connect knowledge to these data points. And what we're seeing and what we will be seeing more and more is in all of these tasks that I have outlined, you will have the understanding of the AI telling you if what you are planning on the strategic level, on the operational level, on the compliance level, is that really possible with the legislation in place in these countries worldwide, be it an OECD country or a non-OECD country. But it will tell you if this is possible, what you try to achieve in order to steer your company into the right direction, or if you need to take other actions to accomplish what you want to do. And this is where AI will help you on the data that you have, where people nowadays believe they have very bad data. We will give them the understanding of how bad it is really, or maybe it's already pretty good and AI can support you in making the things that you want to do in your daily business. And this is where we are starting with a product that we are launching early next year together with IBFD, the first outcome of the hackathon that we will be presenting in other webinars, in other sessions like this, where we go more into detail about the first use case. There is so much more to come on platform level, on each level, of where we believe AI can make a difference and where we believe AI can support end users in making a better outcome with the time that they have.
Great. So maybe Anushka, also from your subject matter perspective, is this technology or how this technology can help with proactive measures in our profession?
Yes, for sure it will. Instead of like, say, firefighting, sort of like approach in each issue, see as a separate issue, and as it pops up and you deal with it, technology is actually offering the tax professionals the opportunity to have like a proactive approach. Technology can actually use to discover patterns in data and in tax data. So any inconsistencies will actually raise a red flag. So for multinationals, you can think of, say, a sort of like approach, how to deal with it. Do you want to make sure that you want to increase your documentation, put extra efforts to it, or do you want to take other measures like closing an APA with, say, the tax authorities? Could be you have like different approaches, but you can use your tax data and the technology for making these type of decisions. Tax authorities, on the other hand, they can also use, they are sitting on a huge amount of data, and they are using technology, and they are increasingly using tax technology to go through that data. Recently, the OECD produced a report with respect to the use of AI by tax administrations. IMF provided some guidance also with respect to the use of AI. So this is increasing. And the tax authorities, they are using AI and other technologies to focus or identify high-risk cases, to do selected TP audits, and also apply risk management tools. So, yeah, I think there is a shift in, say, a proactive approach towards a proactive approach.
Yeah, I just had a conversation last week with a tax officer of one of Nordic countries, and what they mentioned to me is that they're working on technology that will use AI to quickly scan local files that are being submitted to them to identify obvious gaps or risks. That's not a deep, in-depth audit of local file, but that's a quick identification of areas to explore by human. And I think applied at scale, especially as more countries require local files to be proactively submitted, that may be really growing in importance for taxpayers also to apply the same technology before they actually prepare or submit their local files. So that's the game that both parties should start playing for sure. All right, so we are coming to the close of what has been a very fascinating discussion about the future of AI and transfer pricing. And I'm sure that viewers will be eager to stay updated on those developments, especially as new products are coming from both Aibidia and IBFD. And that's, well, this exciting partnership that we were talking about. Matthias, could you tell us how the audience can keep track on what's coming next and how to get more information about that?
Yeah, we are very excited to showcase what we have been working on. There's a lot to show, and we will have specific sessions going into the details of what the partnership will bring to our end users. To stay up to date, please get access to the Aibidia newsletter. Sign in there, and you will get all the updates on what to come, when to have the next session, and when we will be releasing the first solution together. Very exciting times. Looking forward to share more with that to all of you.
Yeah, and the link will be available in the description to subscribe to that newsletter, and you will also get invites for the future events where the IBFD and Aibidia collaboration and, well, fruits of that collaboration will be presented. I want to thank our outstanding speakers, Anushka, TJ, Matthias. Thank you very much for sharing such valuable insights today and also showing us how interestingly and how exciting this type of collaboration can be, and even on the dinner level, as Matthias and TJ were relating to. You've given us a very remarkable look behind the scenes of your collaboration and what's ahead for us. So looking forward to news. Thank you again, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.